what you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Footcandle Films. Film news and reviews from two guys who really like movies.
This episode is brought to you by the Footcandle Film Society. For a schedule of upcoming screenings and membership information, visit the Society's website at www.footcandle.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Footcandle Films here on themesh.tv. I am Alan, and this is Chris across from me.
Hello, podcast listeners.
Chris, man, love your t-shirt. I have not seen that yet. Chris is wearing a very, very cool Star Wars Millennium Falcon schematic type of t-shirt, and it's very, very nice. I like it.
It was a birthday gift from my kids.
Okay. So. Hey, you got awesome kids. Very, very cool. Probably not any big Star Wars news today on our show, but I'll tell you what we do have is another childhood favorite franchise that we're going to talk about a little bit, and that would be the Muppets, as we do a review of Muppets Most Wanted.
Indeed.
We're going to follow that up with a discussion and review on the film Grand Piano, which I'm subtitling Hobbit Plays a Piano is basically what I'm looking at it, because it's Elijah Wood starring in a thriller. He's forever typecast as Frodo the Hobbit. So we're going to talk about those two films, and then we're going to talk about a little bit of movie news, some industry news and things happening. And we're going to end up the show, just like we always do, giving our recommendation of a film we think you ought to check out, something that's available online that you can find or get pretty easy access to. That's going to be our show today. Footcandle Films. Sound like a good plan to you, Chris?
Sounds good.
Let's get started then. We're going to jump right into our first movie review, which is Muppets Most Wanted.
The world's greatest criminal has stolen the greatest treasures, escaped the greatest prisons, and he bears a strong resemblance to someone you know.
It's not easy being mean.
It's Constantine, the world's most dangerous frog.
Check this out. Ah!
Oh, look, it's Kermit.
Ah!
Ah! Well, what did you do with Kermit?
So, Alan.
Yes.
They're doing a sequel. They're back by popular demand.
Oh
Come
gosh,
on, everybody, strike up the band. They're doing a sequel. That's what they do in Hollywood. And everybody knows the sequel's never quite as good. Okay. Yes, I probably wasn't on key, but I didn't have any music backing me up.
Well, that's your excuse. Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be my excuse anyway. So, Alan, the sequel.
Yes.
There is a song starting off that is, we're doing a sequel in the movie. And they have that line, the sequel is never quite as good. Mm-hmm. So, Alan, what was your opinion on the sequel, Muppets Most Wanted?
You know what? I think I might have liked this one just a tad bit better than the original one. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. I mean, the whole reboot of the Muppets, I guess you could call it, from a few years ago, the Jason Segel, and then you had Brett... What's his last name? Brett McKenzie from Flight of the Conchords, musician, and he composed most of the songs.
Yes.
I felt, even though I really liked the previous one, and I know you were a huge fan of it.
It was. I think it may have been. I'll have to get with the intern, but my favorite of the year,
and I really enjoyed it. But I also felt it was just a little tiny bit off tonal wise, in that I just felt like it was too much. Oh, let's remember the Muppets. Too much baking the nostalgia. And not enough just having a fun time.
Okay.
Now, I will say with this movie, this movie's all about the fun time. There's really very little, let's think back to who the Muppets are and why they're so important to our childhood and blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. This is all hijinks, madcap stuff going on. I had a really fun time with it. I enjoyed it. I guess I'd say I enjoyed it differently than the previous movie. Maybe not more, just in a different way.
Sure.
I found myself laughing a lot, enjoying a lot of the little in-jokes, a lot of the cameos. I thought it had a story, it had a plot, it was fun. I enjoyed the movie a lot. I really did have a good fun time with it. How about you? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, because I know you were such a big fan of the first one.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the first one. So like the song kind of hints, the sequel is never quite as good. That's kind of how I feel about it. Not to say that it's a bad movie. If I had to actually pin down my major hang up on the movie, I'd basically say that the songs didn't hit me like the songs from the first movie did. And that first movie was basically a musical with Muppet comedy thrown in. And this had a lot of songs too. And the songs just didn't stick with me.
I'll give you that much. I do think,
other than we're doing a sequel, which was the very first number. So
I'll tell you, for the first Muppet movie, there were 2 songs that were awesome songs. That was the opening song.
Yes, Everything is Perfect.
Yeah, right. And then the Manor Muppet.
Yes,
Perfect Muppet songs.
Right there with you.
All the rest of them were not so good for me. This one, you don't have a standout song. There's not a song that I'm walking out of there humming. But overall, I think the overall baseline quality, average quality, was a little bit better for me of the songs. I enjoyed every song in this movie, even though none of them were absolute just favorites I'm going to be humming on my way out of the theater.
Well, and they were still done by Brett McKenzie, which actually, when the movie was going for a while, I thought I wonder if it's because the songs are not being done by Brett McKenzie, and maybe that's why I'm not appreciating it. But as it turns out, they were done. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's not it. I think it just, the standout songs in the first movie were really good for me. And then the songs that maybe weren't standout, but I thought they were really clever, such as the Barbershop Quartet of Smells Like Teen Spirit. There was not a moment like that in this movie that I really thought, wow, that is genius. They also did the Chickens Singing Forget You, or the other title that we won't mention on air. And there was, the cleverness wasn't there. The songs were still well constructed and they moved, but just something about the freshness and the cleverness just didn't strike me.
I don't know. But, see, because I really enjoyed the, is it Constantine? Was that the bad frog's name?
Yes.
Constantine and the number 2 song.
Evil Kermit.
Yeah. That song I thought was fun. I thought the song, I thought all the sequences in the gulag of the prisoners putting on a stage performance, I really had a fun time with. I mean, luckily they didn't dwell too long on those. They were pretty quick moments. But them doing some of the songs and doing a cabaret performance, I thought were really, really fun and creative.
The thing from All That Jazz or whatever that.
That's
I hope I get it or whatever.
Yep. I thought those were just funny enough touches that really kind of kept the music a little more diversified this time.
Okay.
I enjoyed that. So, yeah.
I think one of the things that I'm surprised that you kind of maybe didn't mention it, because you have this fear with movies, often sequels, specifically with comic book movies, they increase the number of bad guys.
Too much.
Increase the number of bad guys. In this movie, we have Ricky Gervais playing Dominic Badgie, not bad guy. Don't confuse that. Which I really liked him. Thought he did a good job. So he's one bad guy, but he is number 2.
Yes.
Number 1 would be Constantine, the evil Kermit the Frog.
Constantine, spacebar, and then your name.
Which I liked that joke. So yes, there's also the Tina Fey character who plays the runner of the gulag. And I thought it was like one too many bad guys. So I thought it was kind of suffering from that sequel bad guy dilution problem.
Well, see, I actually felt like this was a little more simplified than the first movie was, because I know in the first movie we had the, what was the guy's name, the actor's name?
Chris Cooper.
Chris Cooper as the bad guy, but then he had his 3 or 4 henchmen, and they were all involved in different things. And it got a little muddied, I thought, at times, even late in the film. This one, you've got your 1 and 2 bad guys, and that's it. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward plot.
Well, Tina Fey, kind of a third.
She's not a bad guy. That was like a subplot that got kind of just went on different paths, and
sure.
I don't think she's really a bad guy in the movie sense. So, it was a fun, silly movie. Had a lot of good humor for both kids and adults. My kids enjoyed it. I thought it was more in line of the Muppet Show type entertainment that I was used to with the TV show.
Got you.
Where the previous movie, I think, had a lot more cleverness going forward and a lot more meta stuff happening with it, which was fun.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't do a whole nother meta movie.
Oh, man.
No, I
can't get enough of the meta.
Well, I think you had that one meta movie where you kind of comment on the fact of where the Muppets are in society. This movie, I'm glad they didn't go that route. It's just, let's just have a fun adventure. Let's just do something fun. And the fact that it picks up like right the second the previous movie ended was really cool.
I like that.
Kermit was more of Kermit the Frog in this movie to me too. I had a little bit of a hang-ups with his personality in the first movie.
He was
almost down and sad and just very
depressing.
morose.
Yeah.
In this movie, he's more of the typical Kermit that we're used to seeing. So I enjoyed that too.
I can see that. I know it was in the original show, and I know that it was in the original Muppet movies. I am so done with Piggy and Kermit.
Oh yeah,
maybe getting married, maybe not getting married. Like, I don't
Every
care.
movie seems to have that as a sub point, and I'm kind of done with it too.
And I think this movie could have easily done without it. She could have been interested in Kermit, but the fact that the whole get like that doesn't matter.
There is a whole subplot of are they going to get married or not, and a whole big NP scene takes place in a church at a wedding, and that it's been done too much. I agree with you. It was a focal point of the last movie, a discussion that was held there about what happened to the two of them. Muppets Take Manhattan ended with a big marriage ceremony at the end. I mean, it's just a constant thing, and I'm with you, and it's kind of played out.
I will say you were talking about the story, and I did appreciate the actual story of this movie better than I did appreciate the original story in the Muppets movie. I like that movie better, but it was basically kind of let's get everybody back together, and it just seemed very familiar. Yet I still liked the movie. Yeah. But you kind of knew where it was going. This one had kind of a adventure, Indiana Jones style thing where they were trying to get different pieces to come together to be able to do a heist, and it made it exciting and fun the way they would kind of change that up. So I liked that better.
Let me rephrase my overall assessment on this. I really enjoyed this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it in a different way than I enjoyed the last Muppet movie.
Gotcha.
But I enjoyed them probably pretty close to equally, just in different ways. The first movie was a much more nostalgia, and it was kind of a fun comment on them themselves, and a lot of meta stuff going on, and cleverness and all that. This one was just fun, entertainment, silly Muppet stuff, and it was great. It was good.
And I think where I differ on the movies, or as far as like weighing them against each other, the first movie, the meta moments I liked and I found funny, and in this movie there are a couple, but some of the humor to me was not as clever and therefore was more kind of dumbed down and redundant. Specifically, I'm thinking of two different instances. Well, one there's several instances of, but the first instance was there's a sequence on a train where a conductor gets hit like 3 different times in the face. Oh. And I was just kind of like, okay, it's kind of very like a Three Stooges type joke. The other thing was how much I felt like they relied on mocking the French with Ty Burrell's character who plays an Interpol inspector. Like, okay, I get it once, I get it twice, but it was like they kept relying on that for comedy. I'm just like, okay, yes, I get it. You're taking that French stereotype and making a joke about it. And I just... I wanted something a little bit more clever. Not, some of them worked and some of them were funny, but I was just kind of like, didn't work as well. So
overall, I think we're both saying good film, enjoyable film. You're saying maybe not as much as the previous one. I'm saying like the previous one, just on a different level. Gotcha. And so we're good with that. I think we're both able to recommend it and say it's definitely worth checking out. If you at all enjoyed the previous movie, you should go see this one. You're going to have a good time with it. It may not be exactly your cup of tea if you like the first one, but I think you'll find enough there to really kind of have a good time at the movie theater. Is that safe to say, Chris?
Oh, yeah. It's worth seeing. It just not quite as good as the first one, but still worth seeing.
All right. Easy enough. So that's The Muppets Most Wanted. I believe still should be out in movie theaters. Didn't perform as well box office-wise, just for those who like to kind of keep tabs on that like I do. Didn't do as well. Definitely did not do as well as the first one. That could be a little bit of a red mark for future Muppet movies. I hope not, because they're fun to have every couple of years.
I'd like to see him do another one. I think it'd be a shame not to, because there's still plenty of material.
It definitely still needs to be with the same creative team. It doesn't need to start handing off to some random directors and writers and just letting it become a very paint by numbers type of Muppet movie.
And this one still had plenty of cameos in it, which of course are always fun to pick out who's who. I thought it was interesting that Brett McKenzie was one of the Flight of the Conchords guys. His fellow actor, I guess, Jermaine Clement, was actually in it in the Gulag. And I was like, oh, wow, that's cool. He's in it. And, of course, I liked his part. Mm-hmm. I kind of wish that both of them had been in there together at some point. But maybe that's for the third movie. That would have been cool for
people like us. Probably would not mean anything to anybody else. And I thought Christoph Waltz on stage doing a waltz, I thought was just dumb enough to be funny. So
yeah. And the Penelope Cruz running from the bulls, I also like.
That was Salma Hayek.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, watch out.
Penelope's going to come get me.
Don't want to get there. Don't get their PR people on your case now.
That's true.
So
that's true. Well, I liked that clever use of that. It's cool.
All right. So that's Muppets Most Wanted. Let's move on to a completely different type of movie as we talk about our second film, which is the Elijah Wood starring thriller mystery type of movie. It's called Grand Piano.
Get back on stage. involved, I will know it. If you do any of these things, your wife will die. Play a wrong note, and you will die.
I'll give you all the money I have.
I don't want your money.
Then what?
I want you to play the most flawless concert of your life.
So, Chris, with Grand Piano, this is the film starring Elijah Wood. He of Hobbit fame and, of course, a child actor that we've followed for many, many years. He's obviously been doing a lot more interesting, more adult roles in recent years.
Right.
We have a film that honestly was one I had not read or heard much anything about. I just noticed it had gotten a little bit of buzz on some online websites and is available now for streaming. I think it went pretty quick to online streaming. So a lot of independent films that maybe don't have the big attraction of a theater distribution can go now straight to online, Amazon and iTunes and so forth, to go get a little attention. So I thought it was interesting when you read the description. It sounds like a very interesting thriller concept where you basically have Elijah Wood playing a concert pianist, very world renowned, but who's been away from the stage for several years, based off of some sort of mental breakdown, kind of freak out, during one of his performances where he could not finish a certain piece.
Right.
And it just kind of buried him emotionally, and he has not been back onto the stage in a while. He comes to a comeback concert. It's very highly touted. It's got a big crowd in the audience. And as he sits at the piano and starts to play, he realizes there are notes in his sheet music that's been given to him, basically letting him know that if he stops playing or in any way tips off what's going on, that either he and or his wife will be murdered. Mm-hmm. And enough of a hints are given to him with seeing the scope, the little red dot, that we always see in the big thriller movies, the little red dot on your body, knowing that there's a gun pointing at you. He sees enough things to convince him that, yes, this is true. So the movie plays out as a little bit of a cat and mouse thing between him on stage trying to put on a concert with a sniper basically ready to pick off him or his wife at any given moment.
Yes.
That's the way I just described it. I could see this being a perfect Alfred Hitchcock, Brian De Palma type of thriller movie. High concept, kind of a Speed meets Phone Booth meets something else with all that. Sure. And, so on paper, sounds pretty interesting. The trailer makes it look like a very heightened thriller. My question to you is, does this come anywhere close to Brian De Palma, Alfred Hitchcock level of thrills and excitement, or are we in completely different ballparks here?
I mean, it definitely is ascribing to try to do that. It's trying to do that, and it succeeds to some degree. But basically, the third act kind of falls apart, and it kind of goes off the rails for me. But until then, until that final third of the movie, it does the amount of suspense they're able to build up and the antagonistic relationship between the pianist and the sniper, I thought was pretty well done.
Okay.
So I did enjoy that. Mentioning Hitchcock, something that struck me about this movie as well, there was a lot of interesting camera work, a lot of fluid, steady shots, and then there's kind of a trick shot that happens at one point where it's kind of, it's hard to explain, but it's almost like a split screen type thing.
Well, it evolves. You don't think it's going to be a split screen.
Right.
You see the concert from the balcony. You see the concert going on, and you see the hallway on the balcony.
Yes.
You think they're connected, but then you actually find out they're split as you're zooming into the concert hall, and you're still down the hallway with it. Yeah, it was interesting.
And I thought that was really, really well done. I wasn't expecting that. So there are several aspects of it I admire. It was just that the final third of it kind of fell apart for me.
I'm almost echoing you, although I'm going to probably come out a little more positive on this than you are.
Okay.
The third act, I think with any kind of high concept thriller like this, is generally the weakest part of the movie. Even a movie like Speed, which I do believe. I'm going to bring out the Keanu Reeves movie here.
Okay.
I'm going this.
Well,
I'm
interesting
going this
that you do bring up Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
Because this movie could be subtitled The Return of Alex Winter, who was Bill in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's right. Alex Winter does play a supporting role in this film, who was Bill in Bill and Ted.
Correct.
Right. Well, okay, so looking at a movie like Speed, which was another high concept thriller.
The bus
You're
that
on a
couldn't
bus
stop.
and you can't slow down. It has to keep going fast.
Right.
I loved that movie when it came out because I like really well done thrillers. I don't like your run of the mill thrillers. I like them to be very, very well made. And that one I think had the right components. It fell apart in the final third as well. It completely got away from its concept and it became just a chase movie and a bunch of action scenes and whatever.
Okay.
This one, you're right, had a little bit of that too. I'm thinking primarily the ending fight sequence. I'm not going to give away too much, but up in the rafters.
Yes.
That was ridiculous.
You've nailed it.
But it was a 5 to 10 minute portion of the movie. I didn't like it. I wish it had been done a little more cleverly, a little more interesting, this final confrontation between these two characters, but so be it. Overall, though, it wasn't enough for me to not say I enjoyed the movie.
Oh, right.
I did enjoy the movie.
Sure.
I thought it was a fun time. I thought cinematography was really well done for a thriller movie. And the fact is, it was the blending of the classical arts and some interesting, well done music and the performances into a thriller format. I thought was something I hadn't seen done before.
Well, and I will say that Elijah Wood is in this, and there's another big name actor in it as well.
Yes.
I don't know if we should mention it or not. No,
we might as well not.
So we won't. But I feel like this was a smaller budget picture.
Yes.
So a lot of money was probably just spent on getting those two names.
Sure.
And then after that, some of the cinematography, that's where they spent their money. So, I admire it for that. And I typically don't go in for thrillers, but this was a pretty well made one, except for that final.
Yeah, the final third was weak. I'll give you that.
And I'll say that something I appreciated too was, which is very Hitchcock referential. There's kind of a MacGuffin in that. Why is the sniper doing this?
Yeah,
and the MacGuffin in Hitchcock terms is usually like something that you think is really important, but in the end isn't important at all. It's just something that kind of keeps the movie rolling. So in this one, it's the motivation behind why the sniper is torturing this dude, this pianist. And in the end, they do reveal kind of, okay, this is kind of what was going on. But the movie's much more interested in examining fame and actually examining failure in fame. Not just fame, like, being famous is a drag, but like what happens when you are an absolute failure.
Yeah.
And that to me is more interesting, and I was glad that the movie decided to focus more on that.
Well, and I thought there was two moments I thought were really nicely done in the film that are just kind of gave it an extra little elevation touch that, beyond just a typical run-of-the-mill thriller, straight to DVD type thriller movie. One is, you commented on it about the whole fame and failure. Mm-hmm. There's a scene in the movie, I'm going to try to dance around, not giving away specifics, but
sure.
It goes into a scene where our main character leaves the stage, is instructed to leave the stage, has to go look up something on a tablet computer thing. And as he does a Google search for this thing he's looking for, one of the top headlines that comes up is all about him as a failure. And it's really there's that little moment of stopping as he's just like, it's like he sees that, he's like, oh yeah, that's right. In the midst of all this drama and things that are going on and danger happening, he's still reminded,
I am
you
a
screwed
failure.
up. You failed, type of thing. So I thought that was a nice little touch. There was one, and I don't know, you may have groaned at this, but I thought it was kind of cool. At the very, very end of the film, the last little scene, we're talking about inside
in the moving truck.
In the moving truck, where he goes in and you hear this noise that sounds a lot like applause and clapping and people. Turns out to be just raindrops hitting the top of the truck. But it was very intentionally done to make you think. He kind of has this moment of he gets to be a virtuoso performer. He even does it with the cape off and the rain's hitting the top of the truck. And it was a nicely done artistic touch to something that, again, some of these thriller movies wouldn't go that extra mile for.
Well, and I appreciate the touch. It didn't click with me about the rain and the applause, but I can totally see that. That performance yields a certain result. Mm-hmm. And the way they cut away from that result, I appreciated. It was and it could have been exploited and kind of run into the ground, but it ended where it needed to, I guess, to put that without spoiling anything.
Well, I'm going to go on record saying I did enjoy the film. I am recommending people that like thrillers and like Hitchcock movies and those kind of films. You'll enjoy this. I think there's enough there to keep your attention. Yes, the last ending sequence is a groaner. It is. There's one really, really, really bad pun as far as right after the final confrontation, something that plays back to a line that you heard a ridiculous amount of times in the first half of the movie. I'm like, they're telegraphing that something's going to happen with that throwaway line that everybody keeps saying. And sure enough, they did exactly what was predicted would happen. It's a little on the corny side, but you know what? It was a fun movie. I had a good time with it. I'm still recommending it. So
I'll say something that could have been excised from the movie that would have helped it for me. There were some friends that were tag-along friends of the pianist and his wife, who's also a famous movie actress in this. So it would matter if she got assassinated. Not that it wouldn't matter if your wife got assassinated, but specifically, she was also famous, was also in attendance. That provides tension in the movie. But the tag-along friends to me were just very stereotypical and like cartoonish.
Oh, they were caricatures, sure.
And so it kind of took me out of the movie a little bit because it was like they were from a different movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of, if they would have just been a little bit, I don't know, more finely
based on reality.
Out.
She was a complete over-the-top harpy.
It was like she was from Clueless.
Right.
She was from the Clueless movies.
And
her
he
husband
was
wasn't
like
that
the
bad.
dim-witted kind of slow to the take kind of guy.
But I guess he didn't bother me as bad as she did because she was so strident.
She was pretty annoying. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'm glad how things wrapped up for her.
I was going to say, I was glad she disappeared about halfway through the film. We're not going to tell you why. So anyway, so that's the film Grand Piano. Was there anything else?
I was going to say, I did after I finished the movie, I was interested enough to see who had directed it and who had written it. So this is the first thing I'd ever seen by the director, who is Eugene O'Meara. Never seen anything by him before. I think
he's only done a couple other directorial things and a little bit more in the horror genre, right?
And I think they were also from Spain. I think he's a Spanish director, so that's probably why I hadn't seen anything by him. The writer has just written a movie called Whiplash, which came out at Sundance, which has done apparently really well. Hasn't been released officially here in the States yet, but it has Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. Interestingly, also music themed.
About a drummer.
It's about a drummer who's trying to become a professional, and he has a really hard teacher, J.K. Simmons. So it's interesting that the writer once again chose to have basically a two-person dynamic working again in that movie. So I'm interested to see that movie, and I have an idea I'm going to like it better than Grand Piano.
Well, it's definitely got a lot more rave reviews from Sundance and all. Also, the director of note, he's also a composer.
Okay.
So there you go, too. Kind of taking a writer who seems to be fascinated with music with a director that also has done some composing for films and other things. Well, then this is a good mixture film for them to work on together. So
sounds like it.
Yeah, I think it's worth checking out. It's good. It's not perfect, not great, but it's a good fun time at the movies. 90-minute movie, nice and brief, doesn't waste a whole lot of time. I enjoyed it.
I did too.
All right, we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to hit some quick movie news and give our online recommendations of films you ought to check out. So you're listening to Footcandle Films here on themesh.tv. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We'll get back to your show in a moment. Just a reminder, you're listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Find out more at themesh.tv and give us feedback on what you like. And now, as promised, back to your show.
Hello and welcome back to Footcandle Films here on themesh.tv. Before we get back into the show, just a quick reminder, you are listening to The Mesh Network, which you can find on themesh.tv. So let's say, Chris, the crazy weather we've been having around here lately, let's just say it's early April and it starts snowing outside, which would not surprise me anymore at this point.
Not in the least.
So you get snowed in. What are you going to do all weekend?
I'm going to do nothing but listen to back episodes of our podcast.
You can go back in time like a time machine all the way back to when we started the show and download and listen to every single episode. That is fun for the whole family. I mean, board games, who needs board games?
Right.
Download podcast episodes and make your family listen to old movie reviews.
Right.
How perfect is that?
How fun would that be?
Yeah, exactly. That's what you ought to be doing. So that's what we recommend you do. You go to themesh.tv. You can listen to all the episodes and shows. And then we got other shows on the network too. It's not just us, although, you know, we like you listening to our episodes, but we got other shows too, business shows, education shows, music, technology, sports, everything in between. So just go and check out the shows and give it a listen and give us some feedback. Let us know what you like. You can listen, write us a note at info@themesh.tv. There's also a contact us form right on the website that you can use to listen to us, to contact us as well. So, Chris, with that, let's go into a couple quick movie news items.
Okay.
I told you at the beginning that we weren't going to talk about Star Wars.
Right.
And I'm still going to stick to that.
Okay. We do have a date for it, though, right? December 20th,
December 2017.
Oh, 2017. Oh, I thought it was 2015.
Oh, no. It's not ready. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. 15. It's episode 7, 2015.
Okay, don't scare me
I got
like
the
that.
numbers. Got the numbers mixed up. So 2015. You're like, we're a year and a half away.
Right.
Or almost 2 years away. No, I'm not going to go the Star Wars route this time.
Okay.
Let's talk about one that's just as near and dear to my heart, though, Indiana Jones.
Oh, wow.
So here's the deal.
Really?
Okay.
They didn't just put the nails in the coffin and put that one away?
No.
Yeah.
Here's a little background story. So you had the original trilogy that I still worship the granite lies on.
Sure.
Then you've got the fourth movie, The Abomination, that came out a few years ago. Not that great.
Right.
Had a few good moments, but most of it was not that great.
No.
So it kind of left the movie hanging, wondering if the buff, Shia LaBeouf, was going to be Indiana Jones. Well, fear not, he will not.
Well, I somehow gathered that he probably wouldn't, since he's kind of gone off the deep end lately.
Yeah, but here's the deal: is that Disney now owns Indiana Jones. They bought it at the same time
Mickey
they got
Mouse
Star
is
Wars.
going to be Indiana Jones.
Exactly. Pluto actually is what they're targeting right now.
That's fair.
They are planning on doing another Indiana Jones movie.
Okay.
There's a big question mark right now, though, about will it be a fifth one with Harrison Ford, and if so, it'll probably be his last one because the guy's. I'm not trying to be an ageist here, but he's 72.
And Indiana Jones movies kind of require a little bit of physicality, typically.
Right. So the question is whether he rounds out with a fifth one, or if they reboot it and turn it into more of a James Bond type of thing where a different actor every few years could be chosen to play Indiana Jones.
Okay.
What do you think? What should they do? You are the film producer. What do we do, Chris?
An Indiana Jones movie without Harrison Ford would be kind of bizarre to me, but I actually think it'd be really funny if they tried to have Shia LaBeouf do another movie with Harrison Ford.
You're a sadistic little man.
I am. Because I actually think there's something to the guy, even though he's kind of bizarre and he's been in those Transformer movies.
I just want him swinging in the jungle like a monkey, like he did in the last movie. That
would be awesome.
Horrible.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do. I think who writes it would be a pretty interesting thing.
Okay, good. Glad you asked, because there were rumors floating around. No, there were rumors that Frank Darabont, Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, The Walking Dead, he was the executive showrunner for that for the first season. There was rumors that he had turned in a script called Indiana Jones in the City of the Gods that Lucas rejected and instead went with Crystal Skull. So, I don't know.
Good job, Lucas. Another wonderful decision.
So supposedly that his name's been in the running as being somebody that could either direct or just write the script for a new one, which I would be in favor of. He seems like a pretty high quality guy.
Yeah.
And do you want to know a name that's been batted around as an actor if they went the route of replacing and rebooting with a new character, with a new person?
Robert Downey Jr.
No. Think of somebody who was in a big movie that was nominated for a whole bunch of Oscars just recently. It was a costume period piece. Got a funky hairdo he had to do.
Christian Bale?
No. Same movie, though.
Oh, the other dude.
Yeah, the other
Hawkeye?
dude. No.
No, not Hawkeye.
Bradley Cooper.
Whoa. Okay, I was thinking, who's the Jeremy Renner? But
Bradley Cooper. He's been supposedly mentioned as kind of a front runner if they're going to go the whole replacement route.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, it could work.
Be.
Anything's possible.
I like the idea of doing more Indiana Jones movies. And I'm the kind of guy that feels like you can reboot a franchise all you want. It doesn't destroy the original movies.
No.
So, we still got the first 3 movies. Even the fourth Indiana Jones has not ruined the original trilogy for me.
That's pretty amazing.
It came close, but it did not ruin them.
Right.
So I'm okay if you say, let's just like James Bond, let's just start a whole nother person, a whole nother trilogy at some point down the road. Perfectly fine by me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to run out to see it, but if I hear it's good after having what happened with the Crystal Skulls happen. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with it, I guess.
And let's go also back to another franchise. I guess you could call it a franchise. There were 2 movies.
Yeah.
It's kind of a franchise, but it was based off of toys and cartoons and all that.
Okay.
Were you a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan at all, or did that just completely pass you by? Because it was younger than me. Okay. I was already kind of past that age when they became popular.
I mean, I watched the cartoon and I guess I liked it okay, but I never did go see the movie, even though Vanilla Ice was in it, wasn't he?
He was in the sequel.
Oh, whoa.
The Secret of the Ooze. The fact that I know that is embarrassing.
Pretty amazing.
I wish I could take that back.
I don't think I've ever seen any of the original two, so it's kind of surprising. But I've heard that they are doing a new movie and they've got a trailer out, but I haven't seen it.
We have an audience with us right now, so let me ask.
We do.
Anybody in the audience? Any fans of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Really, Chess? Chess is okay.
Wow.
That's the whole deal. Is that they have released They're releasing a new movie. It is not. It is human acting with CGI turtles. Okay, so it's not all CGI and it's not humans in latex costumes. It is the
costumes.
CGI human blending. Okay.
Okay.
Here's warning sign number 1. Even though Chess in our audience has said that the trailer is awesome, warning sign number 1, produced by Michael Bay.
Well, I mean,
let that soak in for
but
a
an
minute.
action movie with fighting turtles, I could see him doing that. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Would I want him doing Indiana Jones? No.
The lead girl, which remind me again what the character's name is?
April.
I
actually do know that.
And do you know who's playing April in this rebooted movie?
Kate Beckinsale.
Megan Fox.
Well, that works because she's the Transformer girl. Isn't
She is the Transformer girl. Yeah.
Yeah, well, with Michael Bay. Yeah, so of course. So
All
is
right.
Shia LaBeouf going to be in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I don't know. He may be. Maybe he's Shredder. Is that Shredder? Shredder's the bad guy? Is that,
And he
am I
has a
right in
mask
that?
on the whole time.
Actually, I know who it is. It's William Fincher is Shredder, who was the bad guy in The Lone Ranger. He's been in a bunch of movies. He was in Go. He was a lot of other stuff. Yeah. I'll tell you what. The turtles, the faces of the turtles, they creep me out. Chess, are you with me on this? I mean, they looked weird.
I thought they looked better than the 1993.
Chess is saying they look better than the 1993 movie, but of course that was just guys in a big rubber suit, right?
Right.
So I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot to look better. But they're creepy looking. I'm just going to tell you.
Because they looked realistic, or because
almost a little too realistic.
Huh?
Yeah. I have a turtle. We have a pet turtle at our house.
Is he a ninja?
No, he's not.
Okay.
And I don't think he's a teenager because he's been around a long time.
Right.
I've seen a turtle's face pretty close up. I don't know if this looked like I guess it is a mutant turtle though, so it could be anything goes. Any other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans? Lee?
Yeah, we need to bring Vanilla Ice back, though.
Lee is saying that we need to bring Vanilla Ice back, or the equivalent of Vanilla Ice in today's society. I don't know who that would be.
Who would that be?
I don't know. I have to really think through that and see.
Oh,
somebody saying
good.
Macklemore back there? I don't know.
Yes,
you guys are way too into the MTV. I don't know these pop culture references. So
Turtles can go thrift shopping.
There you go. That'd be awesome.
Oh, and I'm getting a sign from the audience. Thank you. I love having an audience here. Warning sign number 3. The film is also being co-produced by Nickelodeon Studios.
Well.
So Nickelodeon plus Michael Bay plus Megan Fox plus creepy turtle faces.
Which makes you wonder what it's going to be rated.
Oh, it'll be PG or PG-13.
Michael Bay doing a PG movie. That'd be interesting.
Could be.
But Nickelodeon makes you think it would be. Huh.
Could be.
Interesting.
Yep. So anyway, we got a interesting little thing going on there with that particular movie. So I wanted to throw that out there. That was 2 franchises from our youth that are coming back in some way, shape, or form.
Fair
like
enough.
all of them do. And when are we getting a Never-Ending Story reboot?
It's surely can't be far
It
off.
has to be. I mean, they made 2 movies back in the 80s. That's the minimum requirement. If you made 2 movies of a franchise, it has to be rebooted here in the 2000s.
And I want like David Gordon Green doing it, or
that would be awesome.
someone else. David Gordon Green, I think, would be who I would want.
That's all I've got for news other than Chris.
Oh, we have one more news item.
Do we really? Do we have to bring this up?
Yes.
What is it?
Alan,
Yes.
you did not win the Oscar challenge.
I did not. I lost.
And did you go see Ride Along?
No.
Okay. Now, careful, because I think there is a provision in the contest rules that if you don't see it within 2 weeks of this recording, you also have to take in Tyler Perry's The Single Moms Club, which has a 17% Rotten Tomatoes rating. So,
just as a backup,
as a warning, I'm just throwing that out there.
Just so everybody knows what we're talking about. Since I did lose the Oscar pool, the bet we had is that I would go see the worst rated on Rotten Tomatoes film that was still out in the theaters and have to go see it. And that turned out to be the film Ride Along, which I have not seen yet. I know I have to go see it. Now you're up in the ante and saying, if I don't go see it this coming week, I have to see 2 low rated Rotten Tomatoes movies.
Yes, and report back to us with how wonderful they were so we can prove that you did actually see them.
Fine,
So-
I will go this weekend.
Okay.
All right. So let's wrap up the show, Chris, with our online picks real quick. I think we both have a pick of a film that we want to recommend that everybody ought to check out. Chris, what is yours?
Absolutely. I'm going to recommend the Disney movie from 2000, The Emperor's New Groove. It's available streaming on Netflix.
Yes.
And animation-wise, yes, this is nothing spectacular. The animation is actually not that great. It kind of, in a way, pays homage to like old Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Yeah, it's more cartoonish and all.
Then it doesn't have like a lot of fancy 3D animation stuff.
Right.
But what I really appreciate about it is the humor and the jokes. David Spade is in it. He plays the Emperor. He's awesome. And Patrick Warburton, who was like Putty in Seinfeld or whatever, he's in this movie and plays a henchman, and he is really, really funny. So it's, short, 78 minutes. It's a family movie, obviously. It's Disney, rated G. But I really enjoy it and would highly recommend it.
Very cool. Yeah, I have seen that several times. I actually think it's hilarious. It's one of those where you go to watch the movie not because it's a Disney spectacle and beautiful animation. You watch it because it's just funny.
Funny.
And it's one of the few last funny things I remember David Spade doing as well. So that's
true.
For whatever that's worth.
Sad but true.
I'm going to mention a movie, and I know it was a Footcandle film that we showed many, many years ago.
Okay.
But only because this director just has another film coming out either now or soon or just recently. I don't really remember. Scott Cooper, who directed his first film, was the film Crazy Heart.
Okay.
Jeff Bridges. I think Jeff Bridges is just the man. And I just think anything he touches, even if the movie's horrible, I will still watch Jeff Bridges act in it.
He's the dude.
He is the dude. And Crazy Heart wasn't like a comeback because he'd still been in a lot of movies up to that point. I think it was the first one that really reminded everybody he's a good actor.
Right.
Because it really is. He plays a kind of down the beaten path performer, country western kind of performer. And he's now just in a very low point in his life. He's just kind of going from bar to bar performing, and he basically gets reconnected, I guess, with a young woman who's a reporter trying to do a story on him.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since I've seen this film, but it's just one of those as I look back and try to think about films that maybe didn't get quite the attention. He did get an Oscar nomination for Best Actor, and I think he won that year.
I think you're right.
But it's still one of those things where everybody remembers the performance, but they don't remember the fact that it's actually a pretty good film. I actually enjoyed it. I know we showed it at Footcandle many years ago, I think during our second year as a film society.
Yeah, that's right.
And it had a good response from our audience. People really connected with it. Great music. T-Bone Burnett, I believe, was the executive producer of the music. Just a really good soundtrack to it. So that's my pick, and that's one I know you can find in multiple places.
Do you know the name of the project that he has that's coming out?
It's like something about the boiler or something.
No, was it the Christian Bale?
Out of the Furnace.
Yeah, and that's come out.
That has come out. So I don't think it made too much of a splash. But Christian Bale and I forget who else is in that movie. But
Woody Harrelson.
Oh, right. Yeah. Which reminds me, have you House of Cards?
Yes.
You watched it?
I watched it.
Lee's watched it. You watched season 2?
I've seen
You've seen both seasons, season 1 and season 2.
Okay,
All right, Chris?
I've seen season 1, and I'm on episode 6 of season 2.
Okay, so you're halfway through season 2.
Yes. Is Woody Harrelson in it?
No, he's not.
Dang.
What made me start thinking about it is True Detective is kind of the next show I've got on my list to watch, which is Woody Harrelson and all. I've got that queued up, ready to watch at home. I wanted to get through House of Cards first. That made me think about that and ask you about that.
Now, is that on Hulu?
It's HBO.
Oh, HBO. Okay.
I don't have HBO, but I know a good friend of mine who does.
I see. I need to apparently make friends with this friend so that maybe I can also.
Yes, you have friends with HBO, then you may have HBO. So, and True Detective is supposed to be really good, so I'm just anxious to see it.
I've heard too that maybe you can confirm this, even though you haven't seen the show, that next season it's been renewed, but they're going to kind of do what was that American Horror Story does, where they take a new cast and they tell a different story.
Yes. That is the case.
It's not going to be
That's
Woody Harrelson. Okay.
That's what I understand. So I'm anxious to see that. Okay, so let's wrap up the show. We did our reviews of Muppets Most Wanted. We did a review of Grand Piano, and both movies, positive reviews from us. I'm probably a little more positive on both of them than you were. I liked Muppets Most Wanted, maybe even a little bit better than the last Muppets movie. You thought a little below, but still enjoyable.
I think... Yeah, minor Muppets, minor Hitchcock is how I would sign up to.
And you also thought Grand Piano was okay. Right. I thought it was pretty good. So that's kind of our rating scale. Okay, pretty good, great. So neither of us are saying Grand Piano is a great movie, but definitely fun time at the movies to check out if you're interested in some thrillers. And then we did our news. We talked about Indiana Jones. We talked about Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then we kept up our recommendations with Emperor's New Groove
and
Crazy Heart.
Obligation to go see Ride Along.
And my obligation to see Ride Along, which I will have done by the next time we record.
Awesome.
Yep. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for listening to Footcandle Films. Thanks to our audience. We have an audience behind us. You guys intimidated us a little bit. So.
Disclaimer, they're here to record another show, so like breathing down our necks.
Chris, you ruined the illusion.
I did.
I had everybody in the audience. I had all of our listeners thinking there was like 100 people.
Sitting.
You're right. The roar of the audience in the background. Thank you. Thank you for coming out and watching our show. Oh, well. Yeah, it's just guys here for the next show. But with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio or any other place where good quality podcasts are found. And subscribe so you can get all the future episodes from us as well. And send us some feedback. Give us some star ratings or comments on iTunes, or drop us a line at info@themesh.tv and let us know how we're doing. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
See you in the ticket line.
Special thanks to Carpal Tuller for the show theme music. For more about Carpal Tuller, visit www.carpaltuller.com. You've been listening to The Mesh, an online media network of shows and programs ranging from business to arts, sports to entertainment, music to community. All programs are available on the website as well as through iTunes and YouTube. Check us out online at themesh.tv. Discover other network shows and give us feedback on what you just heard.